checkmark here. Alright, welcome to the next podcast session here on the Space Bridge for the Iacon Battle Circuit podcast series. Join with me next is the head of the Zoo Discord and one of my longest friends here in the fighting game community scene since the start of Dragonball, Fighters, and beyond. This is Vapors.
Yo, what's going on? Thanks for having me, bro.
Always. I look forward to us going over the panel here today and see where our talks lead us to for today. So starting with the path, delving into the current, let's start with going into the current. What brought you, like, with the past games that you played and the communities you've been through and the experiences you had, what's your background going into a lot of the games, or even before the FGC, or going into the FGC?
Well, my first like quote unquote like real fighting game that I got into was Injustice 2. But that was when I was like a casual gamer. I was one of those gamers who just played like FIFA, and I'd play like Uncharted and just any first person game, and I played a lot of sports games, mainly FIFA. But I liked superheroes. I thought Batman was cool. I thought Superman's cool. So I saw Injustice 2, and I'm like, oh, okay, let me see what this is about. So originally, that's the game I decided I liked, and I was like, I like the game. Let me try to get good at it. That's the first game I ever learned like what frame data was, what certain setups were. But I wasn't too sweaty, I'd say. I was just casually doing it. I wanted to do cool stuff. I wanted to do cool combos, and I liked it. As I think the thing that stuck with me the most is that it wasn't an easy game, and it's what's the word? Not it's not well. It's a competitive game if you take it seriously, but it's fun competing against other people who are trying to do the same, have the same goal. And I like the whole inputs. I've never done like quarter circles before or any of these like tricky inputs, so. I liked it, but I didn't like. I knew I wasn't too good, so I didn't sweat over it too much. And
In,
then
Injustice was a great game for Injustice 1 or Injustice 2?
Injustice 2, and I played Supergirl. She was my girl.
Oh, okay. Injustice in general is like a really inviting for those of you guys listening for the casual NRS experience or even going into the competitive NRS experience. Injustice 1 or 2 is actually one of the more welcoming experiences into the NRS experience.
I heard Injustice 1 is broken with that one setup with Batgirl or whatever. I was watching a bunch of I was watching old clips because when I used to try to get good at the game, I'd watch Sonic Fox, and Sonic Fox is like the NRS god. So I remember watching back Injustice 1. He was just playing Batgirl. He was doing some cheap ass setup, and I'm like, thank God I didn't play this game, or else I would have raged. But
It was a game people could play competitively back then. Hell, people even played one for money, if you can believe that. Old
oh,
as
I
it was,
believe it.
and the concept of that game was where there was just a lot of cheap ass shit in that game, but it was fun for its time.
Oh yeah, me back then, I would have been like, "This game is ass. I'm out. I'm not playing this shit." But now I love seeing that stuff. I love seeing the cheap shit. 'Cause that's, I wouldn't say it's like broken. It's just like satisfying because it's fun. It's fun when you do it, but when you get hit by it, it's not fun. But that's
The
why I play
beauty
the
of
cheap
it is
shit.
that when you do it enough, you have an idea about how to counter it.
Yeah,
'Cause if
that's
you know
true.
how
And
to
then
get
once you
in
get
and
the
make
hang
it
of
cheap,
it,
you know how to kind of make it less cheap if you're the one blocking it.
and to be fair, if everyone's playing those characters, everyone's doing that same setup. When you go up against something you don't know how to fight against, even if they're low tier, you're screwed because you're like, oh, I've just been playing against Batgirl the entire time. I've been playing against Superman. Next thing you know, you're fighting Martian Manhunter, whoever was low tier in that game, and you're like, crap, what do I do? So
Right.
it brings you down to reality. Like, oh, I've been dealing with this so much, now I gotta learn how to fight this character again. It's kind of like Street Fighter 2. Uh, like Street Fighter 6 the same way. Everyone's playing Akuma. Everyone's playing the cheap shit. Everyone's playing Ed, the Geef, but then you fight Lily, you fight Jamie, and you're like, oh crap, I only know how to fight the top tiers. I don't know how to fight the low tiers. But that's any game in general. But I'm just using that as like the current game I'm playing. But it's basically like that with every game, which I think is good.
Yeah,
I think it humbles you, it brings you down to reality, and you're like, you know what? I can beat the cheap shit, but I can't beat the honest stuff. I can't beat the people who are like, I wouldn't say they're working harder, but they're just not doing the cheap shit. And you're like, oh, well, I
exactly.
can beat the cheap shit, but I can't beat like the honest stuff.
It's always one or the other, right? Like in each fighting game community or the game in general has its own weird climate where you're either fighting the common stuff and you're not fighting enough of the top tiers, so you get freed up by that, or you're fighting enough of the top tiers, you may be winning and losing, probably losing more than winning, but you're not seeing enough of the other part of the roster, everything else that's not considered top tier or that's not good or really good, and then you lose to knowledge checking more so than just losing to the character.
Yes, it's more of the knowledge check. It's more of the things like honestly, because at that point, if you're fighting someone and they know you don't know how to beat a certain thing or a certain setup, or if you don't know the matchup, they're just gonna abuse it. And then
And
that
that's
makes
fair.
you go into the lab, and then you're like, okay, I'm not losing to this anymore. And then you realize, oh, that's what I do. And I think that's one of the best things about fighting games, honestly, because you're like, okay, I don't want to lose this again because I know I can beat it. I know I'm better than this guy. And then you go into the lab, and then you lab it, then you don't lose to it again. And then it happens again. You find something you know how to beat, boom, you lab it, boom, done.
Yeah, it really
And
does
once you get to
resonate
the
that
high
way.
levels, yeah. Once you get to the higher levels, it's like, all right, now it's about who's better. Everyone knows the matchup. Everyone knows the setups. Everyone knows the mix. Everyone knows the cheese. Now it's about at that point. It's just a mind game. It's all fundies, mind games, mentality as well.
Okay. Any other games you play outside of going into? Well, you said you started with Injustice, which is like your first fighting game.
Yep, Injustice 2 was the game I was like, oh, fighting games are kind of cool. But I didn't buy. There was a bunch of other fighting games that came after Injustice 2, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna stick to Injustice 2 because I don't know any of these games. And then I remember, and then DBFZ. ZBFZ was the game that brought me into the FGC. I'd say. I think DBFZ I owe a lot to, just because obviously the IP of Dragon Ball appeals to, I'd say, about 8 out of 10 people, because people have a lot of people these days, especially in America, because Dragon Ball is such a popular show. You see it on 4Kids TV, you see it on Toonami. You grew up with it, and for me, the thing that draw me to it was, well, I want to play Goku. I like Goku. I like Vegeta. I like all these characters. It just happened to be a 2D fighter, and then when I got to it, I'm like, oh, this plays like Injustice. It has like the inputs. It has like the 2D vertical movement, or no, the horizontal movement. It's nice. I was like, this is like Injustice just with Goku and the cast. And then I stuck to it, and I'm like, you know what? This game is hype. I want to get into it. And that's when I started. Like, that's when I was like, I need an alias. So I came up with Loyal Run at first, and that was a long time ago. And now Vapors, much years later, I made a Twitter account. I started streaming because of Dragon Ball. That's the game I'd say that was like the point where I'm like, okay, fighting games are like the best games. Fighting games are literally the best games. I've been missing out. And to be fair, I started Dragon Ball super late, or fighting games in general, because I got into Dragon Ball Season 2, so I didn't play any of the Season 1 stuff. I got into it like the month before GT Goku came out. Um, who was the first Season 2 character again? Was it GT? No, it wasn't GT. It was
First season two character was it was either it was Jiren and
Jiren
Videl.
and Videl. So literally right when Jiren and Videl came out was when I started playing the game. And then I got into it literally like I was hooked. I was hooked on it. It took me a while to get hooked onto it because I'm like, this game is kind of cool. And then I started watching. Oh, you know what it was too? I remember watching like YouTube videos. And I remember Sonic Fox. The Sonic Fox played Injustice too. I'm like, this dude Sonic Fox plays every game. So I'm watching his set against Goichi and Evo, and I'm like, you know what? This game is actually hype if I learn how to like do it, because I don't know what's going on. So I took my time. I learned the game. Really, I learned the game. I grinded that game. I've never grinded a game so much probably in my life. I've played that game for. I don't play it anymore, but consistently, I think I played that game like every day for like 3.5 years
Oh,
for as much
Injustice?
as I could. No, Dragon Ball.
Dragon
Dragon Ball.
Ball. Okay.
DBFZ. Yep. Uh, that game is definitely that game definitely brought me to the FGC, and people it doesn't get a good rep because the game is super chaotic now, and back then the game's considered not a like, quote unquote real fighting game because some of the mechanics like super dash and you know it's not like the traditional game where it's like oh you have to play footsies and you have to play neutral as a, but to be fair, I think it does get a lot of hate, but for the wrong reasons, especially if DBFZ is like one of your first fighting games, I'd say.
Right.
But
Hey,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of the DBFZ players who started off at DBFZ, if they get into like Street Fighter, if they get into Blaze Brew, or any other street or any other game in general, and they do well, people can't say like, oh, DBFZ players are trash. DBFZ players are this. Oh, your first fighting game shouldn't be DFZ because they just proved a point. If anything, it teaches you. I think the best part about Dragon Ball is it teaches you how to play neutral. Because that game, you have to be very careful how you play neutral. Because if you lose neutral, it's
Yes.
it's it's tough.
The tricky
Because
part, though,
everything brings you to the corner. Then they got the setups, but
yeah. The tricky
it's
part
just
in
a
that
it's just a cheap game.
the tricky part in that is that it doesn't teach you neutral, but it teaches you how to like appreciate neutral once you know it.
I'd say teach you is not the right word I should have used. It's more like you gotta like because it's a very floaty game. It's a
Yes.
very in terms of neutral heavy, it's a lot of movement. It teaches you movement, I should say, how to do movement correctly, as opposed to winning neutral. Because you can win that. Because you could easily win neutral in that game. You just do assists, you do a full screen move, and you win neutral at that. But it teaches you movement, IEDs. It teaches you to float, how to space yourself out. I think it does a great job of that. Out of all the games I've played in terms of movement, I think DBFZ is king. The movement in that game is ridiculous. Moving that game is ridiculous for sure.
Hmm.
It's a lot faster, which is good because once you get to the slower games, you have to adapt because then you can't just be holding forward. You have to force yourself to relax, which is good. It's tricky. I think DBFZ and I think like Marvel, not just because of the team aspect, because Marvel is also a really movement heavy game. You got the wave dashes, you got like the
Another
super
chaotic
jumps.
example.
Another chaotic example, you know what I mean? I think Hunter x Hunter, the game coming up, is going to be like that as well. It's going to be,
It
even though it does look a
usually
little,
does, because they have a lot of really unique little nuances that mimic a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom. I see that being another
yeah,
chaotic game.
it looks a lot more floaty too. Like there's definitely movement, but it's not as like when you jump up in Dragon Ball, you're like you jump and then you come down quickly. From what I've seen, Hunter x Hunter, that game looks like you jump and you take a while to come down. But I'm not sure if they're gonna fix it. I don't mind it. It's just something you got to get used to. But I know my movement in that game is gonna be solid. Definitely gonna be solid.
Okay.
Yeah, man. DBFZ was the game that brought me into the FGC for sure. That's the game I wanted to like. You know what? This is the game where after like where I was like, fighting games are dope. Fighting games are dope. But I met a lot of cool people through Dragon Ball 2 that I still talk. Like I met you. I met like Bullets. I met like Flair. I met all these dudes, and now it's been years. You know, we're still cool. We play games. We obviously don't play Dragon Ball anymore. You know, maybe now and then I'll hop on just to like see what's going on. But at least the current state of Dragon Ball right now, I think is. I mean, it is what it is. You know, I think
It's still pretty
it's a
evolved.
lot
It
of
has a lot that it can grow
it's.
on and expand on. It's just how much that people want to continue to absorb for the game for their prosperity.
I just feel like it's like way too chaotic. It's way too. They like every patch they make, they just have to like add like a full screen button that just it's a low. It beats key blasts. It takes you to the corner. You lose half your health. You lose You lose three-fourths of your health. You know what I mean? It's like every character has something that's like that. If you're not a character that has something like that, then you're not considered a top tier. Like right now,
Basically.
what's top tier is like you got Vegito. Trunks is top tier too, not because of because of everything he got. Just because, well, obviously Flip is so deep at that full screen 2M or 3M, whatever, is busted.
Yeah,
8 frame key blast
said
with
nice
the
little.
flips. Yeah, he's
Oh yeah,
got.
his level 3 now. That's I think what 8, 10 frames or some shit. At level 3, like damn near you
It's
can't even react to
unreactable.
it.
It's an unreactable command grab for sure. That thing is busted. Then you got Vegito doing shit, but Vegito's hype. Vegito's hype just because he's cool. And then you got, well, who else top tier? 17. Even though it's just like, well, he's top tier because of not the full screen stuff, but he's probably the
Oh,
best
he's very
support in
good.
the game. He's been the best support in the game for years, and they haven't nerfed him.
Yeah,
He gets better.
honestly,
He just
he'll
gets
make
better.
that.
Fuck
I
it.
hate him and love him at the same time. Android 17 is a keeper till the end.
I'm actually so surprised the game developers thought, you know what, this assist is fine. It's working as intended. This assist, specifically the assist, does not need some sort of adjustment.
Yeah, it hasn't been touched all this time as much as people have complained about it, and miraculously they touched every other thing that has been a problem but this. When you stop to think about it, the barrier mechanic and and his engine, it's it's annoying as fuck, yes, but it's only if you press or if you flip, because if you flip behind it, miraculously, then this whole magnitude of a problem is with punishable as fuck.
Right. It's also about like, because people are getting so good. Because like, well, it depends as well. Because you have to know how to call the assist. Like I
Exactly.
think like Yasha and Hakari are probably the best at it because they've been playing that team that's probably the best team in the game right now. I don't know if it is, but like the way you call the assist is also important. Like the way they do it is, if I believe I'm right, it's they if they're super negative or if they know they messed up, that assist is like you get a jail free card, which is exactly how you should be using the assist. Obviously, you can use it for mix and you can use it to end your string and then continue pressure. But the best thing about this is it cleans up every mistake you make. You whiff a button as Vegito, you whiff 5L as Vegito, just call the assist, boom, it does the job for you. And the next thing you know, you got mix. Again, the assist does everything. It does everything. It hasn't been nerfed. It's a defensive assist. It's a mix assist. It cleans up your mess. It's a freaking it's eight. Imagine if 18 had a hit on it had a hit on it. Then it
Oh yeah,
then there'd be
heretical.
two.
Oh yeah, then
Yeah,
that would be two. That'd be
like
two really
you
annoying barrier
exactly
assist mechanics.
exactly that assist is so busted. But Vegito assist as well before the nerfs was busted. I can't believe someone compared it. I think Faulty Thing did it. He put he put the Vegito assist in like Marvel 3 just to prove how like busted that assist was. But to be fair, that assist is busted. It's
That
still busted. It's still busted. It's still busted. I still think 17A is more busted, but the one thing Vegito says has it over is you just kind of do it and you just win neutral. It's also used defensively and literally like no one talks about this, but that's the only assist that you can like never get happy birthday from because he comes behind you in the air. You're never hitting him.
Vegito A
You're,
assist.
Vegito A before it got nerfed. The best part about that assist is he spawns behind you above you. He's never getting happy birthday ever. So you can just call it. Like even if you call it wrong,
I didn't really think about that till the later years of it, watching it, and just wondering, wait a minute, you can't really punish the Vegito A assist. You can punish C
you,
assist, and you can punish B assist, but you can't punish A assist. Now, the more I kept looking at that, the more I realized why that assist is like is the main assist that you always keep on him.
yep, literally
It's no commit
that's
for a huge reward and a huge hit stun
exactly.
on it.
You literally just call it because you can hit 17A if you hit him early enough, but you actually can't hit Vegito. You actually cannot hit him. Literally, you cannot hit him. Goes behind you. It's a projectile. That's the only bad thing. Like there's counterplay to it. You can super dash it. That's kind of RPS if you're gonna end your string. But defensively, it works. Offensively, it works. Mix, it works. It's not really mix. It's more of RPS. Am I gonna super dash? Am I gonna reflect? Am I gonna hold it? Am I gonna do DP? You know what I mean? It's and then not let's not talk about the blocks then. You had a whole year to convert that thing. You literally had a whole year. You could literally go to the bathroom and come back, and that motherfucker will still be in the air.
Basically.
It was actually so busted. Plus the character was broken. The character was busted. No, that Yasha team was something else for sure.
It was. Well, even in the later stages of the gameplay, that was a team that I picked up in order to try and
Mm-hmm.
help my own ventures, and I decided to go on
Mm-hmm.
ahead and shelve base Goku for a little bit and just go the Yasha route, so that way I can keep my placements consistent and learn more about that shell in my own right as I'm playing it, as opposed to watching it.
Yeah, man. Wait, what do you think is the most like not broken season? I think the season is pretty stupid because like every character, well, not every character.
Every
I
character
think the
has their own
game
bit of
is.
nonsense, but some have more than others.
I think in terms of top tiers, the game has a lot of top tiers, which is good.
That's good.
But
Like we're still
it's
having the
good
variety for
and
it.
it's good and it's also bad because there's there's good ways to have top tier characters and there's bad ways to have top tier characters. I think the reason some of these top tier characters are now like Kron's top tier, Baby's top tier, Nappa's top tier, like they just have like way too much busted stuff. Like Cyberman's busted, Rocks are busted,
Yeah.
Baby's
Baby's
busted,
neutral was just busted.
Baby's neutral is busted. He's got mix now. There's no way the character who has the best neutral could also have mix.
And
Like
then
imagine
and
if
you have mixed
Broly
literally because you're just winning the neutral. That's
exactly like imagine if Broly season 3 had a 2-0. He'd
scary
actually
thought.
be it just shouldn't happen. Because he would have the best key blast. He'd have the best neutral. He has unreactable command grab. He's got armor. He's got big buttons, and then he's got mix. Imagine that. This baby literally does what Broly does, but better now.
Yeah.
He's got. They gave him a low. He has corner to corner. He's got ridiculous meter game. He's got good assists. What else? He's got the freaking. He's got level 3 Oki. He's got good synergy with his supers. He's probably the best support, or probably the best mid right now, or anchor. No, I think he's a. Well, to be fair, Baby's strong enough where you could put him anywhere on your team and you're chilling.
Yeah, Baby
But
is
then you
still been one
combine
of
him
those
with
versatile
like
characters that you can make a point, mid, or an anchor, and it still works because his end
exactly.
game is just to either control neutral or be on the field to
Hmm.
literally manipulate it himself.
Yeah. And then, I think in terms of the top tiers, like some of the top tiers are top tier just because they shit out damage, or they have some button, they have one win button where you just do it and then you just win. Like,
Yes.
literally, I think that's, I don't think that's good for the game, and that's why I stopped playing the game. Because the game, you just do something and then it works. Like for example, GT when they did the freaking the 214S, they made it have
The Pogo.
armor.
Oh, it's Pogo
Yeah,
thingy. Yeah.
it was the reverse Kamehameha, and they had Blue Vegeta armor command grab. Like,
I'm glad they got rid of that.
what the fuck are you supposed to do? You can't do anything. You just do it.
Literally,
Like it's a full,
you just have
it's
to
a
hold it.
yeah, it's a full screen move. And it's got armor and it's a command grab. And the next thing you know, like you just do it and you just win. That's what I don't like about the way they're buffing characters. Yeah, they're buffing characters. They have more characters who are top tier in the game, but then it's like,
When you think
how
about
do you play?
how
How do you
they're
play against them?
Yeah, when you think about
How do you
how
play
they're all
against it?
top tiers, how do you break down,
Yes.
like, they all have that one thing that can more or less either win neutral for free or skip neutral, or just happen to cheese a plus on block, or you have to block this immediately thing. You can't really react to it type shit.
Yep. And the game right now is so unforgiving because if you don't have a proper way to punish, or if you can't react to this stuff, get taken a corner and you're eating 75% of your damage, which isn't fun. That shit's not fun unless you're playing it. Like you have to play these characters. But I think DBFZ when it was the start of season 3, when UI Goku like just came out, was probably the best DBFZ because you
I
had
kind of agree with
obviously
that. Between UI
you
Goku and Roshi's season was like prime DBFZ hours.
oh yeah. Plus, UIA was good. It wasn't. Honestly,
Oh,
people were
James.
complaining too much about. Yeah, people were complaining about that assist too much because it was not that hard to deal with.
It really
It was
wasn't
not.
that
It was
hard. It's
not. It
just that
was. It
people are
wasn't that
just
hard to deal
going
with.
in for. It's just people are going in for free and not thinking that they're
Exactly.
playing the neutral.
That's when that was. I think the. I think in terms of the game, that's when that was the first time people realized a strong defensive assist is a lot stronger than people think. Because after that, you had a lot of. That's when Vegito and A17 and Android 18 barrier were seen a lot more heavier. Because when they nerfed UIA was actually like the very first assist you could call, and it just saved you because it was an invincible assist. And then people were trying to find ways to clean up their mistakes, and then they buffed Vegito, right? And then the French obviously knew something we didn't because they're like Vegito's good and his assist is good, and the Americanized or you know on the American scene, that North American scene, everyone's like, no, he's not good. And the point was proven. Not only Vegito was a good character, but his assists, his defensive assists, was strong. Then everyone's playing it. Then everyone's playing Android 7. No, everyone's playing Vegito. Then everyone's playing Android 17 because of the exact same thing. You have the two best support cards in the game, who no one thought was strong. Literally, no one thought it was strong. The norm was in the U.S. mix was more important than neutral. Kid Buu season 3 was the face of DBFZ in the US, and Vegito was the face of the DBFZ in France.
Think,
And this all happened
think
when
about that, chat. Really think about that.
that's
She's
true.
spitting facts. That's beyond true. Think about the representation of the Kid Buu players we had here that put him on a pedestal, that were catching up to Vegito versus on the other side of the fence, Vegito players Vegito players that barely or don't even touch Kid Buu.
Everyone was playing Kid Buu season 3. Everyone in the US, all the top players were playing Kid Buu.
Key example.
Every single one of them. You had Fred, you had Nitro, you had Kite, you had literally everyone who was getting top A HOC or all these majors had Kid Buu on their team. You just play Kid Buu and you just have a mix. But what set the I think the defining moment for especially for me at least, because I played Kid Buu. I played Kid Buu because Kid Buu was he's just Kid Buu. You just do it. You just mix and you win the game. But for me at least, when I realized like, all right, neutral in this game is more important than mix, is when it was an HOC. It was, I think, one of the first arenas of chaos. It was Nitro versus Hikari. And it was grand finals, and Hikari was on loser's side. And I remember Nitro was playing, he's playing UI, he was playing Kid Buu, he was playing 21. And Hikari was playing Team Yasha.
Right.
But at that point, like, people thought Hikari was trolling. Because even me, I'm like, Nitro's going to watch this dude because you know, he's trolling. Like, who plays Gogeta, who plays Vegito, and who plays 17. And then I remember watching that match, and I'm like, Hikari's not mixing Nitro, but Nitro can't even get in. Like, he can't get offense because he's just getting out neutral. Like, he's calling Vegito, and he's calling 17, and Gogeta is just, he won neutral every time. Nitro mixed him maybe one time. Maybe, well, not, I'm exaggerating, but Nitro lost neutral 90% of that game. And that was the game I realized, like, you know what? This game is not about mix. It's about neutral. You have to win the neutral because this game has so much offensive options. You got 6M, you got command grabs, you got DR, you got cross up, you got stagger pressure, you got frame traps. Like, this game has offense, but this game
It has offense and it has defense, but it just doesn't focus mix. Even though mix is here, mix is not the focus. It's the neutral.
If you're a good player, obviously you mix, but you don't. I don't think mix is as important as winning neutral in this game. Like, look at Trunks. Trunks doesn't need to mix. Well, obviously he has mix, but the strong points about Trunks isn't that he has mix. It's because he can win neutral. He can win neutral.
That's the key thing about it.
Vegito
That
is
that he
good
never had
because
before because he just had bad buttons.
yeah, but people were so focused. Like if you think about it, dude, Trunks back then isn't played just because he had no mix.
He wasn't played because he really couldn't play a lot of the neutral. Everything he could do in neutral to cover and create space was all punishable.
Mm-hmm.
Now he has ways to
But then
make
you're,
himself more safe.
but like if you're back then, if you're playing Kid Buu and you are playing against Vegito, right? For example, Vegito will kill Kid Buu. It's just no one was playing him because he didn't have mix. And then there was that USA versus France
The
thing that Damascus
the
had.
legendary 10v10. I
The
tell
10
you,
versus 10.
chat, that was a historic checkpoint in the history of Dragon Ball Fighters. Check it out when you can. It was a very monumental match. It was a whole year in the works of getting that to happen.
Everyone in France was playing Vegito. And I remember, I think it was, there was one player in the US playing Vegito. It was Enzem.
Enzem, yeah.
Enzem was playing Gogeta, Vegito, Base Goku. But I think Enzem and I think Zane were the only two players to get more than one game off of the French. Because
those two and Sonic Fox.
Sonic Fox, yep. So I remember Enzem and Zane, specifically Enzem, he took down like 4 of the French people.
Yeah.
And he had Vegito on the team. He had neutral. His team wasn't super mixy because the game is offensive. But he had neutral. He knew how to win neutral. If you played Kid Buu, it would have been different just because you have to win neutral first and then you have to mix. You can just run your offense after you win neutral. If you run your offense all the time against the other player, he's not going to mix you. He's going to block. He's going to panic. He's going to vanish. Even the top tier players. Even the top tier players were mashing vanish. They're mashing DP. They don't want to block. No one wants to block forever.
Right. Everybody eventually wants to have the get out tool and apply it. It's there. That's what it's there for.
It's there. Yeah. And then don't even get me started on pre-patch lab coat. Oh my god. Pre-patch lab coat was the worst thing.
That was so
the worst thing that happened to this game. I've never thought in my life I would ever see a character get banned for Dragon Ball FighterZ. If you were not playing pre-patch lab coat, you were trolling. If you were competing, and if you were serious about competing, if you were not playing pre-patch lab coat, you were trolling. 100%.
Absolutely.
Because you are actually at a handicap. You have to fight. At that point, you have to fight fire with fire. You have to do it because she's the only character in the game,
and you're always wrong. Even if you're right, you're wrong.
Who genuinely puts you at a handicap because she's getting buffed and you're getting a damage nerf. So how is that absolutely fair? But I think the thing that made her, besides the fact that she was broken, I think generally for like tournaments, the games also just took longer because you just had to, like everyone was nerfs, so everyone had to do more long string combos, or everyone was 3-touching.
Right.
That also played, like, I don't think anyone thought about that. No one realized that, like, the games actually took a lot longer now that Labco was here.
It was after the first 2 or 3 comms when Bum pointed that out, that it's the time, and I kept thinking about the time, and then I just kept looking at the shit, and I was like, wait a minute, she's actually making matches longer.
Yes, because everyone was 2-touching. Now you're 3-4-touching. Your 2-touch combo does not work. Then you have to win neutral again. You have to mix. You have to run your offense again for a 3rd time. The combo that you lab every day, every time you boot up Dragon Ball, does not work because Labco makes you 3-touch. You can 2-touch, but it's very rare. Or you have to burn Spark, or you have to spend all your resources. Her biggest problem in terms of tournaments being run is the game took longer.
Right.
The game took way too long. And that's why I think the deciding factor in her being banned wasn't the debuff, it wasn't that she was being broken. It's just the fact that she handicaps you and nerfs you. It just took way too long. Like DBFD tournaments were taking, like, obviously they're like 3-4 hours. Like top 8's like 3-4 hours. Top 8 for, I think, that one tournament she was banned, or the one tournament she wasn't banned, it took like a whole 8 hours.
Yeah, it was like a
8, 9
whole other. It
hours.
was like a whole other couple hours added onto that shit.
The tournament ended on the East Coast at like 3 a.m. in the game in like for like Frosty Faustings or something.
Mm.
And I remember then the very next tournament, I think it was CEO. Whoever was running that tournament was like, no more lab coat because we're not having the game.
Yeah, because they
We're not
pitched to the
having the
CEO founder to have him respectfully ban the character. I remember that.
just because it just made the event run longer.
Yeah.
It just made it run so long. It was ridiculous. It was nonsense. Everyone could be playing lab coat, but the game it's just the tournament would run an extra 2 3 hours. But I also think I know there's a meme going around that like bring back Snap. I don't think Snap was good either.
Like is certain
Snap was
characters
busted.
having it, I think is like, or at least not have, or having a blueprint similar to it is okay because there's flaws to it.
Yes.
The original Snap though, I don't think needs to be reincorporated into the game again. Like
Hmm.
Chad, I want you to think about the premise of Snap is to control uh is to control Oki on auto time.
Yep.
Imagine being rotated in continually within 20 to 30-second intervals, always having to block, and the only answer to respond is to waste spark.
Yep. That's the only way you can save your character. Because the reason Snap was so strong is you run a mix up that's a true block string because you cannot guard cancel. You cannot guard cancel well after you got snapped in, you could not guard cancel. So everyone was running a true string 50-50. So you had GT. GT had a true string 50-50. Who else had Bardock had a true string 50-50. Kid Buu had a true string 50-50. And then you get hit, well guess what? You're getting snapped. You get snapped in. And not to mention the fuzzies. You actually could not play well, you could, but you'd be at a bigger disadvantage if you had a big body character. You just getting fuzzy.
Yeah. Like
That was not fun.
like the beauty of that happening, like the beauty of them taking out fuzzies, did make
It was great.
big bodies viable. It made them vastly viable.
Yes. That was the best nerf, quote unquote nerf, even bigger than the debuff thing, was the fuzzies.
Yeah.
Because you could fuzzy off anything. Once you get a high hit, you're taking 50-50 with no assist. You just have to guess. Not even on Snap. You could do IADH as Bardock against Android 16. If they block high, you're eating a fuzzy. You're literally eating a fuzzy. Like there's no resources spent. You're just taking a mix. No super dash, no assists, no. It's a true string. IADH plus Bardock against any. I'm using Android 16 as an example, or or freaking Piccolo. You can use Piccolo. He had a big hitbox.
Right.
IADH 50, boom, fuzzy. You eat a fuzzy, and then next thing you know, you're getting snapped. Your character gets snapped in, right? You get hit, boom, snap. Okay, you bring in Piccolo, 50-50 on the fuzzy. You block the fuzzy. You're eating another true 50-50 from GT or Bardock or Don't Go On. But the Universal Fuzzy, whoever discovered Universal Fuzzy, like, I'm gonna be real with you, man.
Cool.
There were some things people discover in this game. You could put me in the lab my entire life, I would never discover. Whoever discovered the Universal Fuzzy, whoever had that idea is insane.
He is
Someone
low-key a
literally,
genius.
he's a genius. He literally said, you know what, fuzzies are broken, but I want to fuzzy every character in the game. There has to be a way for me to fuzzy every character in the game, and he found a way. It was a super specific setup that most characters could do, and like Don't Gohan, Bardock, Gogeta Blue could do it. Kefla could do it, I think. And that's like I remember when someone discovered the Universal Fuzzy, I was like, this game cannot get any more like cheap. At that point, the game was cheap, but it wasn't broken. The game was not broken. It was just really, really cheap. The game now, the current state of the game, is just so stupid. It's so broken. It's so cheesy. It's like not fun. I don't like playing the game because like there's sometimes I want to boot up the game. I want to play my team, My team's cheap. I still play the same shit. I still play Gogeta 4. I still play Vegeta. I still play Tien. Then I'm playing against like fucking 17 EX Rekka full screen. Freaking, you have
Oh, that is no.
Trunks doing all this bullshit. You got Vegito doing stuff, and I play Vegito, but it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. It really is just nonsense. But I still love the game. It's still my favorite game ever. But I just don't see myself coming back to the game on a competitive level, even like a casual level. I'll maybe put up the game like once every other month, just to like. I'll hit up like someone like, hey, you want to play? But I won't like take the time to like learn the new stuff or labs, or I'll just play just because I want to play sometimes, you know. But you know, we've forever got to give up big ups to DBMZ, bringing me into the streaming life, the FGC, and into where I'm at today, to be honest. So I'll always be grateful for Dragon Ball for sure. You know.
Always, and the community is always here to embrace you.
Yeah, man, for sure. Oh, it's hot. I'm gonna turn the heat up.
Let's see. We talked on past seasons. We talked on competition. We talked on the event lands. No, we talked on the competition landscape. We didn't really talk about the event landscape, or like how you feel about a lot of the events that have shaped the landscape for the scene, or any offlines that you've been to. Doesn't have to be for Dragon Ball per se, but just like in totality of any of the games that you played or the experiences that you've had.
Yeah, man. There's a local here in. So I'm from Connecticut. There's a local like 20 minutes from where I live. It's called Gamers Guild. Shout out to CT Gamers Guild, man. Rob does a great job of running it. It's pretty active, I'd say. Right now, the big thing there is Street Fighter and Tekken. But every now and then they'll have a DBMZ bracket. But when I do go there, it's for Street Fighter now. I'm kind of playing Street Fighter a little bit. Then the DBFZ days, Kite and I went to Balance Patch in Boston, Massachusetts. So it's kind of a troop, but we did it for DBFZ. That's when DBFZ was the big thing. Um, I haven't gone to Balance Patch in a bit, just because there's no game right now I'm like truly like super passionate about in terms of competing. Like right now, I'm playing Street Fighter. I want to get good at the game, but I'm not like, oh, I want to be as good as I was when I played, like as I was in Dragon Ball. I like the game, but it's not one of those games where I see myself going to like the local every week or going out to travel. Um, but I do go to my local here every now and then when I can. I haven't gone in like a month, but everyone there is super cool. Everyone at Balance Patch is cool. The guy who runs that Balance Patch is John Doe and fuck, what's his name? Oh, he's gonna kill me for forgetting his name. What's his name? It's John and Dan. They run the local there, not just for Balance Patch, but it's called Traveling Controller up in Boston. They do events every day of the week. I think they do like one site on Monday, do another site on Tuesday. They do another site on Thursday, and then Friday they have it's Balance Patch. We call it BP for short.
Hmm.
Then they host monthlies, so they do a really great job of making sure there's a scene up in the Boston, Massachusetts area. Um, in terms of people who went to the local that people would recognize, Popper Jam, Kite, myself, Young Fish. We had Caleb 626, Caleb Stitch. I think he goes by Caleb Stitch now. He goes by some different name, but he was Caleb back then. Audex. We had some of the New York players come out one time, and we had to defend the turf. We had Neo there, Acoustics with Scrub Daddy Lee. Oh, we have Floki. We have Black Vegeta. So our scene was pretty strong. I'd say it's
It
definitely
is
one of
really strong.
the.
Yeah.
It definitely was a strong scene for DBZ. Lyric was there too. Hypnotic was a super underrated player. Super solid at fighting games.
I want to see
Um,
him more. I remember Hypnotic.
Hypnotic's dope. He's just right now. He's just doing his thing. He's like he plays fighting games, but he doesn't. He's focusing more on himself right now. I know he's playing Overwatch, and he's got stuff with life going on. But Hypnotic's one of those players where he could just pick up a fighting game, and he's just naturally good at fighting games. He's just one of those players who like gets who understands games. Uh, Like he's just so fundamentally good. Is so fundamentally sound. He knows like when to press. He's super patient. He's just a great fighting game player overall. He can pick up any game like super quick and be one of the one of the top players for sure. Especially in the scene. I remember Guilty Gear Strive came out and he won the first like month of the local with Potemkin, which was
Oh
crazy. And
wow.
I'm like, the first month of the Guilty Gear, he won it with Potemkin. Then he stopped playing, but then every now and then we see each other in Dragon Ball, and
Yeah, it
even
sounds
though
like
he
a
doesn't
mini
play the
goat.
game, yeah, dude, he's OD. He's definitely a hidden gem, I'd say.
I would
But I
love to
remember,
have him at my event at some point or other because I like showcasing like shadow bosses.
yeah, bro, he's definitely a secret boss. And then I remember when we were playing DBZ and Hypnotic would enter. Like Hypnotic was one of those players who like didn't play the game that much. He'll
But you
he'll
damn near
play
look
when he
like he
goes to the
did.
local. But when you play against him, it's like fuck. I gotta play against Hypnotic because he's just like so fundamentally good at just fighting games. It was crazy. I remember the first time I played him. Actually, he played Piccolo, he played Cell, and he played Goku, SSJ Goku for DBFZ, and I was playing Kid
Goodness,
Buu,
so
and I
sick.
was playing UI Gogeta 4. And I remember like playing him. I'm like, I can't open this guy up. And I was playing Kid Buu, and I was trying to mix this guy. I'm like, I can't open him up. He was just like he just knew like when to block, when to take his turn back. He knew when to RPS. He knew he was just so fundamentally good, and he was playing like a not an honest team, but it wasn't like the meta. He was playing Cell, he was playing Piccolo, and he was playing
That's a
SSJ Goku.
seriously honest team.
This wasn't. Yeah, this was after.
That's a season one show.
Yeah, that's a season one snapback meta team. This was no fuzzies. This was no snapback. He was just playing. He's just playing what he liked. He liked Piccolo. He liked Cell. And he liked Goku. And I remember like he beat me 2-1. And I'm like, damn, this guy. Everyone's like, yeah, that's Hypnotic. I'm like, I've heard this name before. And then, and then that was the only time he beat me Hypnotic. But then after that, we every time I played him, I remember I played him. But
Then I gotta
um,
play him. I would love to
yeah,
try and
he's
figure out
definitely
his
strong.
prowess.
I remember. I know the next game Hypnotic plays that I play. I'm definitely gonna be like, fuck. I don't want. I do not want to play him. I do not want to play him. That's the one player like no one wants to run into in the bracket for sure. Him and obviously in terms of people who like don't like play the game as often, he's definitely a top dog for sure.
Definitely. Damn, I just wish I had a chance to actually see him play. I would love to see him. The fighters or Street Fighter or uh, maybe Guilty Gear, or hell, Blaze Blue. I don't know. I don't know what games he plays, or I'm just
Yeah,
curious to
man.
see where the next bracket assessment may take him.
Yeah, man. He's
And the game of
he's
fighting
a
games
super
is still going.
super cool guy too. Super nice, super cool, super humble. I think our scene was really strong because we're all competitive, but we're also like really cool. We're also good friends. I think there's got to be a good balance of competitiveness, but I think it's more important that everyone gets along, obviously,
Absolutely.
because you don't want people who are like going there just making your scene toxic. The competition there is healthy. People obviously they want to win, but they don't want to be that guy to go and everyone's like, oh, fucking, like, this guy's here. No one wants to be that, which is good. But it's the same way with the Gamers Guild here that I go to. That's 20 minutes away from me. Everyone's there to compete. Everyone's generally a cool dude. Everyone's cool. And that goes a long way, you know. Be a good person first. Do that first.
Yeah.
Then you can do whatever you want. But for the games I'm playing now, I'm just playing Street Fighter, man. I'm just playing Street Fighter. I play Rashid, and then for DBFZ, my main character was Gogeta 4. So. But Rashid, I'm playing Rashid. I played Luke to start off because I like Luke. I think he looks cool. And then I saw Evo and I saw Big Bird doing some crazy stuff with Rashid, and I'm like, I gotta play this character. He's hype.
You know. Actually,
So
working with Black Jesus with the MK1, someone actually got a chance to meet Big Bird when he was in his MK phase. I love a
oh, that's
Luke Cage
cool.
player.
Really, I never thought he'd play like an NRS game. To be fair.
Neither did I. Because I didn't realize that it would end up being the same dude. I was like, okay, my hell of a long way going into Rashid. Life will be living.
Yeah, man, life will definitely be living. But Street Fighter is definitely, I think, in terms of, if I were to compare like Street Fighter and Dragon Ball, I think in terms of like the way they get their characters, Street Fighter, the way they've been balancing the game is really really good. There's a lot of characters who are top tier, but they're top tier where it's not like super broken as it was in Dragon Ball. And I think that's good. There's a lot of characters who are good in this game.
That does sound.
It is the best. That's the best part about this game, in my opinion, because every character is good. Every character is good, and no character is like super. Like there's no Vegito. There's no lab coat. There's no character that's like, oh, this character's busted. Every character is good. Every character is good.
Yeah.
In terms of me competing in the game, I think I don't really compete in the game. It's because this is my first ever Street Fighter game. It's the first time I've ever played Street Fighter. So I think if the reason I would like if I were to go to a major, I don't think I would do well because they're all the good players who are playing Street Fighter have been playing Street Fighter for years. Like
Yeah.
Punk has been playing Street Fighter since he was a kid. Daiko and like all these dudes, the Japanese players, like all the really good players have been playing for years. And Street Fighter is a hard game to get into like right away and be good at. Like it's one of those games where you just have to keep playing. You have to keep grinding at it for years. You have to play that game a long ass time. It's not an easy game. But like I think the thing that with me that makes it stick with me is because it's like I know when I get outplayed. And I know, I can recognize when someone is better than me, and I'm not like upset. And I like that. I'm like, oh, like this player is really really good. It's not like Dragon Ball where it's like, oh, like I know I'm better than this guy. He just got lucky, or like he just cheesed me out, or he plays the cheap shit. In Street Fighter, it's like when you got outplayed, and like when someone's better than you, and you like acknowledge it. Like when I lose to someone who was better than me, it's like, you know what? They're good. They're definitely better than me. And I don't get upset about it. I don't get mad because I'm like, you know what? They're good. And I didn't get cheesed out. They're just better at the game than me.
Hmm.
Street Fighter. Yeah, man. I hope in terms of DLC, well, I know mine's coming out. I don't know too much of Street Fighter, but there is one Street Fighter character I'd like to see in this game. It's what is that big boxer's name? What is that
Balrog?
guy's name? Balrog. I would love to see him in this game. For these
I want Makoto.
Makoto. Oh, I have to look that up.
Oh, Street Fighter 4. Can't miss her.
Yeah, my Street Fighter lore isn't the best because Crimson Viper I've seen, but for me my at least for the 1v1 archetypes, I like characters who have big buttons. Like when I played Guilty Gear, I played Ramathal, because she had the big buttons. And then when I got into Luke had the big boy normals. He had the crouching medium punch, and Ramathal had the big ginormous swords.
Right.
But it's funny I say that because now I'm playing Rashid and he has none of that. Because he's just mix up heavy and he has tornado. I think what
Spin
I
the
look
wheel.
for when I first start a game is just characters with big buttons. For 1v1s at least, for 1v1 games.
Yeah.
I just feel like big buttons. I want to control the screen, not dawsome big, not like super stretchy, but and not a
Spacious.
zoner. Like I can play footsies, but you have to respect the fact that I'm gonna like I have big buttons, but
Right.
not like full screen. You know what I mean?
Not
Like I
full
don't like to
screen. You
play
just
full
have
screen. I like
bigger than usual
I,
buttons, so you can't just be
exactly
trying to play the
like
footsies game. You got to play the footsies game wisely.
yes, you gotta be like I'm like in your favor. I have a favor because like I think the character right now who has the best buttons in the game is probably Ed. Like Ed is a big boy. Ed's got big boy buttons. That dude's got
Did
probably the
not
best
know
buttons
that.
in the game right now. Ed's got big buttons. I think Bison's got big buttons. Luke still has big buttons. But I think Ed's probably the best character in the game right now. Ed, just because he's got the big boy buttons, he's got the projectile, he's got a DP, he's got level 2, he's got damage, he's got full screen carry, he probably has the best post throw Oki in the game, he's got flicker, he's got probably everything. He's got good frame data, he's got a good jump in, he's got big damage, so I think Ed might be the best character in the game right now, but
Sounds okay.
I
That
think
sounds plausible. Clever Ed, and I've got
Akuma.
Akuma as like the
Akuma. So
super.
I think my top five for the game right now, in order, is probably Ed, Rashid, Zangief. I still think Ken is top tier. I think definitely he's top tier, and then it's either Akuma or Chun Li. No, I'll take Ken out of there and I'll put Chun Li, then I'll put Akuma. It's just I tried playing Akuma as well, man, but like you have to be good to play Akuma. Not that I'm bad. I don't think I'm good enough to play Akuma
What are his
because
buttons
just
like compared
his
to how
buttons
they
are
used to
good.
be?
His buttons are really strong. It's just that he has no health. He has the lowest health in the game. So I'm exploding. If I mess up as Akuma, I'm exploding.
Ah,
So
character
I think
classicists. Those are
that's
the only
why I
ones that are
think you
gonna
have to
make it
be
work.
like yes. I think you have to be fundamentally super strong to play Akuma. Like I can play Akuma. I won't be the best Akuma ever, but I feel
You
like
get it in.
yeah, I'll get it eventually. But I think to be top tier Akuma, you have to be so fundamentally super strong. Like right now, I was playing Akuma. Toki, no, Daigo's playing Akuma, and Daigo's a goat. Like Daigo's one of those players who can definitely play Akuma just because his fundamentals are probably the best.
Yeah.
Um, it's just because of the low health thing. But if he had regular health, shit, I'd play Akuma. But it's just the low health thing. I'm like, if I make a mistake, and I tend to make some mistakes because I'm not the best Street Fighter player right now, but when I make a mistake and I play Akuma, I'm exploding. I can't do that as the way I'm at right now. But maybe in let's say in like 2 years, if I felt like I was playing Akuma, if I felt like I was strong enough to play Akuma, I would still play Rashid. Just because Rashid to me is more fun. Rashid's more fun. He's got the best level 2 in the game. The tornado is busted. I love it. I think it's so fun doing Rashid level 2 because you're playing Street Fighter the way I want you to play Street Fighter. You have to respect the level 2 tornado. You have to do it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Um, let's delve into the state of DLC. This could be for games that you like to play, or you have played, or seek to play. I'm just curious on like what you think about the state of DLC. And usually there's an atmosphere that comes before they come, or the patch notes that may or may not come with them, or the dynamic that the character or characters bring with the grid. So like you got like Chaos Reigns with Mortal Kombat 1. You have
Mm-hmm.
Zuki with Thunder Knight 2. You have Vikala that's just closed out the Grand Blue versus Rising Battle Pass. Or you have Present Mike with My Hero Ultra Rumble. Or the DLC pack for Street Fighter opening up with Terry Bogard.
Mm-hmm.
You have Guilty Gear that's coming out with that's opening up with season 4 with the Queen. You have uh, DNF earlier this year that it closed off with one or two new characters that they added to their roster.
Hmm.
And it's just like, what is your take on the state of DLC for video games?
I think there's a saying. Well, obviously, people are gonna know what it is. Pay to win.
Classical
They're
phrase.
definitely making a lot of DLC characters strong, but I feel like people have to under. I get it. Like people can say pay to win because their character's strong, which isn't necessarily untrue. But from a company perspective, you have to put it this way, right? If you want a character to sell, you don't want to make them bad and no one buys them. You know what I mean? Like, I think so. Let's go back to DBZ for a bit. I
Oh,
think
okay.
when Gogeta and Broly came out, they were really dumb. Not really dumb, but I think when they came
They
out,
weren't great.
they should have been good characters
I 100% agree.
because they just had a movie come out. They're the hottest thing in the Dragon Ball world, and they come out for DLC and they suck.
Yeah,
I'm like,
like
you
they had
have
the
to like
beautiful move, but
I understand. I get it, but like as if I wanted to make money and if I was the head of the production of DBFZ fighters and I know that Gogeta Blue and Broly just had a movie and they're the hottest thing right now. I'm going to make them good because people are gonna want to play these characters.
exactly.
But they sucked.
That's literally
But
how
they
you
weren't
sell
good.
that's how you sell a character. It's like
So
elementary as fuck.
they could have made a lot more money on those two characters alone if they were just much better. That's one side of it. Like from a company standpoint, as you want to make your characters good, but I just think Gogeta Blue and Broly, Super Broly,
Hmm.
should have been like they were not smart making them bad. Like they really weren't.
Yeah,
Like
they held back on their
tripled
potential at face value.
they could have tripled their income from a company standpoint if they just made those characters good. They obviously would sell, but they would sell a lot more if they were just good. But I think DLC characters, from a company standpoint, they have to be strong
Yeah,
because no one wants to buy a shitty character. Like Terry isn't strong. He's the thing that's saving him is just he's super popular. You know what I mean? Like even like I knew going into it, Terry was gonna be bad because people were saying he's bad, but it's just the fact that Terry's hype. I just bought Terry. Like for example, Elena for coming out for Street Fighter. I have no idea who that is. Right? So
hey, the
if,
unknown sometimes can also be a good
yeah,
billing cycle because if it's an unknown character, you
right,
don't know whether or not they're good or bad. It's not necessarily a guest character to the
right.
franchise, but it's a new character that they're introducing into the franchise, like an original character kind of.
Yep. But I'm saying for people like me who have no idea who this character is, I probably won't play her if she's bad. Or I probably won't spend my money if she's bad. You know what I mean?
And that's
Like
fair.
obviously I have the pass, so I'm gonna get her for free. But if I'm just a casual player and I'm looking at the roster, I'm thinking like, oh, like who's cool? Like, oh, here's Terry. He looks cool. Oh, he like Terry's in this game. Let me go buy Terry. Oh, he's bad. It doesn't matter because I know who he is. Now if I'm
Honestly,
looking at
for him, I
like if
think
I'm
it's more so that he's really fun to play, not just because he's popular, but he's really fun to play despite him not like he's not like overly powerful. I think he's decent. Not like
he's
amazing, but
okay.
decent.
Yeah, but let's be real. He's in Smash. He's in
Yeah,
Smash Bros.
yeah, yeah.
So Terry Ryu, I think Ken's in Smash too, right?
E
Canon Smash?
yeah, is
Well,
Canon Smash?
I'm not sure, but I know Terry and Ryu are, right? So people who
Yes.
pick up Street Fighter for the first time are more likely to play those two characters because, like a casual, like if someone who has never ever played fighting games before, has never played Street Fighter, picked up the game, they're gonna pick Terry, they're gonna pick Ryu, just because Smash is a lot more popular, and like those two are like the faces of Street Fighter, even Capcom, and Terry's like the face of his brand. You know what I mean? So like it makes more sense for characters who are more recognizable to be stronger. Because like if I'm a casual player, right, and I'm picking like I only know who Ryu is, and he sucks, I'm like I'm not playing this game. And I can stand by this because I have friends who don't play. Like I have IRL friends who do not play fighting games at all. They play shooters and they play sports games. They don't like the difficulty of like, oh, I need to press 6 buttons. Why can't I just press one button? You know, to just do everything for me, like Dragon Ball, or like they're not gonna like want. They're like the fact that you have light kick, heavy kick, medium kick, light punch, medium punch, heavy punch. That's not gonna appeal to them, but they're gonna want to play it because oh look, I this guy was in Smash, or like oh I've seen Ryu in the what's that movie with the guy? Oh, I've seen him in Wreck-It Ralph. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and then when they pick up the game and they're like, oh, like he's bad. Like I don't want to play this game, or like oh he's really good. I think I'm gonna keep playing the game. That actually goes a lot more of that has like a bigger impact than people who don't understand it means because it's difficult for people right now to get for newer players to get into fighting games just because the skill level and the skill gap is a lot it's not an easy community to get into because there's people who've been playing these games for years and when they go against them they're just discouraged like whenever I have friends over, they want to play Street Fighter. They don't want to play me ever because they're like, oh no, you're too good. Like we don't want to fucking play you. It's just not fun when I play you. And then I let them play. Obviously, I don't play. I like tell them what to do because they're casual players, right? They play modern. They play
They
modern.
play the
They just
modern
want to do
style.
one thing. They play the modern style, and um, like for casuals, I think well, what I'm getting at is from a company standpoint, your DLC characters cannot be bad. They have to be above. They have to be at least above average. They have to be at least above average, right? Um, but since we're kind of talking about like the modern thing, I think there's a lot of people complaining about like games being easier, and I get it. Like people want to do like the super hard combos that is rewarding. And there's two sides to it. There's that side which I get, and I'm one of those people like I want to do hard combos. I want to do like the cool stuff. But companies are making these games because they're not appealing to like the hardcore FGC.
If,
They
if
they're doing it because they want new people to get into the game. Like for example, Project L, every wouldn't say every, but I'd say 8 or 9 out of 10 people who already play fighting games are playing that game already. They're gonna play it.
yeah,
So
no,
they don't have
Project L
like
doesn't really have
Riot.
to market to a specific
Exactly.
audience. It can just market to the audience, and then it'll just go in whatever
Riot
direction it will go.
Riot knows that game is going to be played by fighting game players. So they've already got their audience.
Yeah, coming from
And then I
a
remember
league audience, if I'm not mistaken.
so like their audience right now is the league players, like you said, the league players. And they're gonna be struggling if they're playing a game that's super hard. So they made the game easy to play. The game is not hard to play. It's not hard. And people are complaining these days like, "Oh, games are way too easy." And I get it, but they have to understand companies don't make games to satisfy us. They make games to make money. Obviously, they want to like Don't get me wrong, they want to make a good game, but they want to make fucking money.
True, and then that's the balance of it. How do you make a good game that can sell money versus just wanting money?
They will get more money from casual players than they will from hardcore fighting game players.
There it is. There it is right there, chat.
And that's true. Like literally, DBFZ. Just saying, I could do Street Fighter too. Literally every I'd say big fighting game. Like I'm talking like Tekken, I'm talking Street Fighter, I'm talking Dragon Ball. Well, Dragon Ball is an exception because the IP carries it. There are people who have never played fighting games who just wanna play Goku, who wanna play Trunks. Those people are the ones who sell the game, not people who have been playing games for years. Obviously, the people who've been playing games for years, they're going to be the best at it. But the money comes from casuals. Well, I'll call them casuals.
Mm,
And same thing with Tekken. Like, oh, Tekken is really popular. My friends play Tekken. Let me go buy Tekken. And then, like me, I've been like I know a lot of people in the FGC who don't play Tekken. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of my friends who do not play fighting games at all. But for some reason, they just have Tekken. I'm like, why do you have Tekken? You don't play Street Fighter, or you don't play fighting games. They're like, oh, I think it's fun. I think some of these characters are cool. I just wanna play against the computer. I want to play story mode. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think people in the FGC need to like, they need to like open their eyes and be like, every game just can't be made super like the way they want it to. They have to appear. They have to appeal to everyone. And if they ever get into one of these companies, I'm sure they're going to tell you like, okay, like our game's going to sell well with people who already play fighting games, but we want to target a new audience. And I get it. They want to make money. That's just the reality of it. Like if I'm making a game, if I'm making a fighting game, I'm going to make it not easy. I'm not going to make it super hard, but I'm going to make it like in the middle where I can just it can appeal to both parties. It can appeal to casuals and it can appeal to the hardcore players. That's why I think modern's a good thing. For
Yeah, for like for the newer
yes,
player mentality, modern modern play and modern style is not bad.
it's actually really great if you think about it because if I'm playing Geef and I'm playing modern, I'm just throwing people, right? I'm just doing one button super, and then that's how you get into fighting games. You're like, oh, like I really like the game. I think now I want to like try it in classic mode. I want to try like the hard inputs, and then you learn the hard inputs as opposed to just being thrown into the fire. Like I can't do a quarter circle back. Like if a new player comes in and they want to play Geef, they're not going to do a full quarter circle. They're not going to do like they're going to press two buttons at one time. They're not going to do two half circles. They're going to play modern. And they're going to be like, oh, like, well, now I want to challenge myself. If they really like the game, they're going to be like, oh, well, now I want to try. I want to challenge myself, or I want to like compete, and I want to. Because in modern and Street Fighter, you're limited to your moveset. So it could be Geef, it could be Bison, it could be any character. If they first start off playing modern and they want to take it more like, oh, like now I want to play. I'm playing Luke modern. Now I want to do more combo routes because I know the game in classic mode. I have more options as opposed to modern. So now that I'm good with modern, let me try classic. Let me learn how to do a quarter circle input. They have some sort of understanding of the game before just being thrown into the fire playing ranked. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's somewhat of a learning curve in modern as opposed to just playing classic. That's why I think modern is a good thing for fighting games. It's a good thing. Obviously, people who are competitive, they're not going to play modern because it's not.
It's too simplified.
Not that it's not tournament or competitive. There's just more reward in the classic style as opposed to modern. But there are some people who do play modern and they do really well, like Tachikawa and that one guy who plays Luke. And I'm sure a lot more games are going to be a lot simpler. However, I do think there needs to be an option to play either the simplified version or the classic version. Like Street Fighter is the best example. You can choose to play which version of the character you want. You can choose to play modern, play it super simple, or you can play the original way and you can do all the fancy stuff. The one thing I didn't like in Project L was they didn't have that option. I think every game needs that option. Every game should have the easy version of the game that you can still do, and every version of the game like modern. They should have a modern and a classic. Is what I'm saying.
I like that. I like that because if the games if a game has been around long enough to try and have itself be subjected to an easier protocol of execution, then you can have different styles of the game that you're allowed to incorporate, similar to like Street Fighter's done this for years, and even old Blaze Blue's done this. So why
Yeah, I
can't
think
newer games also incorporate that avenue into appealing to both generations of a comp scene?
exactly. And modern's going to go a long way down the line. There's going to be a lot of new people. I guarantee you, in the next couple of years, when you ask them, you're going to meet them online. You're going to meet them at the local. You're going to meet them at your major tournament. You guys are going to obviously a big question is, hey, what was your first fighting game? In a couple of years, there's going to be a lot of people who are saying, "Oh, Street Fighter 6 was my fighting game. I played Modern Geef, or I played Modern Luke. I played this character. I played that character, and I played them modern." And now you see they're playing like Hunter x Hunter. They're playing the new SNK game that's coming out because they were introduced to fighting games with a learning curve, and that's good for the community. It's good for the scene. Everyone's got to start somewhere,
Yeah,
even if you do play modern. Like no one, like it's hard for someone who has not never played a game before to do a quarter circle input. It's easy for us because we've been doing it for years, but people don't know how to do it, and that's what doesn't appeal to them. They're like, "Oh, this game's too hard. Oh, I don't want to do this." Like that's the beauty of modern, to be honest. It's a good gateway for new people to be introduced, and if they want to learn more, they have that option. They could just switch to classic.
okay.
Yeah, man.
Any other DLC that you wanted to delve into?
Um, I know in terms of games that are coming out, I know the Hunter x Hunter roster got leaked. They didn't do a good job of keeping that game like under wraps. They put all the new characters in the they put all the unreleased characters in the opening of their game, which they released. So for those of you who watch Hunter x Hunter, Pito is not one of those DLC characters, and I think Pito should have been in the roster. So they're either really smart or they're either really stupid because they're probably thinking like, well, Pito isn't going to be in the main roster, but we can get a lot more profit from Pito if we just make her DLC. So maybe they did it on purpose, but I would love to see Pito in that game. I'd love to see Knuckle. Do you watch Hunter x Hunter? Do you familiar with Hunter x Hunter characters or no?
I am not familiar with Hunter x Hunter. I tuned in a little bit when I seen a couple of streamers going into it, but I have
Mhm.
not actually seen Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, man. I think that game in terms of characters can have. There's definitely going to be some characters they need to add. Pito is for sure the big one. Everyone's surprised he's not in. I think Knuckle would be cool. Illumi would be cool. Um, Poof and Yuppie as well.
I
Maybe the chick with
watched
the
Hunter x
vacuum.
Hunter. Just finished watching the movie last night. Oh, how did you enjoy it, King?
The movie. Which movie did you watch? I actually saw Phantom Troop the other day. Literally Phantom Troop with the fourth member of the Spider. The puppet guy. Is that the movie you watched? But I'm trying to think of any other characters. I think the main core of characters that should be in the game are in the game, which is good.
Like all those that are like actually like fighters, or those that
The
would
char-
be seen as fighters.
or I think the characters that everyone wanted, or the characters that should be in the game, are in the game. Like all those characters should be in the game. I think Pito should have been base roster, but I think they're making her DLC. I think they were pulling one on us, but there's no really complaints from me from any of the characters that I feel like don't deserve it. I think the roster is going to be strong. For Project L, I'm still going to call it Project L. I still can't call it 2XKO.
That's what I'm
For
saying. Like, like marketing wise, Project L just sounded better.
it had aura. It's like, you know what I mean? It had like that. It had that like. It's like when you drink Coke and you drink Pepsi. Coke, for me at least, has the extra like umph in it, the extra
Yeah.
like little fire in it. Project L had aura. It was just sick. Then they came out with 2XKO. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Then someone slammed their head on the keyboard and they're like, all right, whatever comes up on the screen is what we're gonna call the name. 2XKO. I'm still calling it Project L, but anyway, I'm not sure if you're big on League, but I would love if they added Zeri,
That's League's first fighting game.
League's first fighting game. Yep,
So
I would love
they got us, and
Zeri.
they're also going to bring them along too. So it's also going to have a, I believe it's also going to have an imbalanced, balanced sense of bringing in the toxic players too from League.
Oh yeah, that's not going to be healthy. And to be fair, they probably won't stick around because they're gonna get mixed by like Sonic Fox. They're gonna mixed by Nitro and all these players, and they're just gonna go back to League, what they're good at.
I see the TikTokables now.
Oh yeah, but if they want to stay, they can stay. All I know is that game's gonna be cheap and it's not gonna be nice to new players. So I don't think that's the first game you should be playing. I think if League players are smart, they will try a previous. They will at least have to try one fighting game. It could be any fighting game. It could literally be fucking well, not like a 2D fighter. It could be in the new Mortal Kombat. It could be Dragon Ball. It could be Blaze Blue. They have to have some sort of experience before they dive into it, or else they're gonna get cooked. They're already gonna get cooked, but they're gonna get like they're not gonna stick. They're not gonna stick because they're gonna go in ranked and they're gonna get mixed and they're gonna think it's not fair. Then they're gonna complain. And it's gonna be toxic, and it's not gonna be healthy. That's actually my big concern that you brought it up was the league players because they're all toxic.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be good. Oh, League. I play League myself sometimes, but every now and then, only when my friends want to play. I know Ronaldo's going to be in the new, or he was. There's teasing of Cristiano Ronaldo in the new SNK game, City of the Wolves or whatever it's called, which I'm not going to play by the way.
What
I lost
type of
Ronaldo
game
in it.
is that? I've been curious. What is that a new fighting game or is it like a new arcade type of game? Like what type of video game is that
It's
that they're
it's
releasing?
uh it's a new fighting game. It's just Terry's. It's just Terry and Mai's game. That's their franchise game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's their game. Yep. So that'll be. I probably won't play it to be honest. I don't think any of those characters are like really cool, or nothing like really stands out to me. It just looks like another Street Fighter. But if they add
Well, the game
Ronaldo in the
from was
game,
Fatal Fury, right?
yes,
Yeah, Fatal Fury was like another an old time type of fighting game that also has its own fan base to it and a decent sized IP. I feel it didn't become as big as a Tekken or a Street Fighter, but I think it's something that's on par with King of Fighters. I feel it has like a its weight is similar to that IP, but still having
yeah.
its weight in terms of popularity. Let me specify. Its weight in terms of popularity, I think, is
Mhm.
just as good as King of Fighters, even though its weight to the genre is as big as a Tekken or a Street Fighter.
Yes. Give me 1 sec. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Oh, I got you. I'm gonna go ahead and step away myself. We'll be back in resort in a minute.
Table four. It's never going to why are you so cute? There was this guy I was hooking up with. Right. And told him, like, listen, I'm switching my birth control. Don't come in me. This mother computer. He just straight up busted me.
Oh my god, he was trying to trap you. He was trying to fucking trap you.
I never felt more disrespected in my life. Actually, I felt more disrespected. I was like, they need to be safe for, a lot method. Not that that's safe or anything, guys. But
Honestly,
I do feel like the pull-out method just works. I do feel like the safe for anything, guys. But
honestly,
I hate calling. I do feel like the pull-out method just works.
it worked. I've had a scare once before. It's not foolproof, but
It's not here. Okay, please be safe.
Okay. All right. Vapors, you back?
Yes. What's up?
All right. All right. Go ahead and clock in here. All right, chat. We will resume. The next thing we can go into is, let me see. We talked on the state of play. We talked on the state of DLCs, the online competition, the landscape, online and offline. Let's go into, I guess, internet culture itself for right now. So let's start with people in game titles, like a sense of forced popularity or favoritism.
What do you mean?
Like, what titles do you feel that what titles do you feel that naturally became popular over time, or those that have a forced sense of popularity?
Like, you mean what people are saying in terms of like you mean like Riz and like words and stuff?
Not so much the use of words, but just like the weight of titles or the weight of an IP
Oh, like
in the
I think I
game.
know what you're saying.
Yeah, like what titles do you feel like, or even games? What do you feel franchise-wise or game-wise, where something was either forced to be popular or it grew naturally?
Sparking Zeros. I think well, it's not that it was forced. I just think the expectations people had for the game were really unrealistic. They were thinking like, "Oh, this is going to take over DBFZ," and I think it's silly that people are saying that a game like um, Sparking Zero needs system mechanic changes. That
Thank you.
game is not meant to be. That game is not meant to be a game where you can compete in. That's a
It's not
game
meant to be a
specific.
balanced game. That's not what it was
Yes,
built
it's
for.
supposed. That's not what the game is supposed to be about. The game is. That's not one of those games where. I think hit the nail on the head. Like that's not supposed to be one of those games that's balanced. It's made. That is not a competitive game. That is not a game that's designed that. That's a game where. That's a game that sells you money.
It
That's a
is.
game that Bandai Namco was like, you know what? Why don't we just redo this game? It's gonna sell. Boom. That game sold really well. But people need to relax and say, "Oh, the game needs changes." No, it doesn't. Your expectations of the game are just not realistic.
That's what I'm saying.
This is not a fighting game. This
Like,
is
how can
a
every other community that plays this game be more healthy than its own on release?
yeah, that's crazy to me. People are still asking like, "Oh my God, I want Vegito Blue and Vegito Blue need nerfs." I'm like, why do they need nerfs? Why do they need nerfs? I don't understand. You want them to be like, what's the word? You want Hercule to beat up Gogeta? That's not one of those games, like you said. It's not. It's not meant. It's not designed to be the most balanced game, the most competitive game ever. That's a game. That's one of those games you get home after you have a long day at work. You had a shitty day. That's a game you boot up, and you're like, you know what? I just want to play Krillin on Sparking Zero. I don't care if he's good or bad.
Right.
That game is not meant to be played online competitively. That's a game. That's a story game. That's a game. That's a game to just relieve stress. You just want to go
It's an
home,
in-depth
and
story
you're
game.
like,
It's like it's the ultimate casual experience that gives
yes,
you as much fun chaos as you would expect, because that's the nature of Dragon Ball at peak value. Is
that's
good,
like
friendly
saying
chaos.
that's like saying GTA on release needs nerfs to guns, or like
But
some cars need to be slower, or like every car should be the same speed. No,
so I'm trying to think, like, stereotypically speaking, with GTA, don't cars usually be fast cars, fast life, guns, you know,
yeah,
pow pow, women, money, blah
that's
blah blah blah, GTA life,
that's
all
like
that.
that's like saying, oh, the rocket launcher isn't as strong as a sniper. The sniper needs to be as strong. It needs to make things explode, just like the RPG. That doesn't make any sense. Every car should be the same speed. What? It's not. Yeah, probably not the best example, but
Well,
um,
with the car thing, I understand where you're getting at with that one, but yeah.
yeah, it's like a sports game. Oh, every oh, they need to nerf like the New York Jets, or they need to nerf like Manchester United, or this NHL team. It's like, that's stupid. Doesn't make any sense. It's supposed to be a casual game, guys. It's not meant to be played competitively. It's not meant for
Right.
you to sweat and complain about the game.
Like,
It's just
it has a
it's a
calm
game
scene
to have
to it,
fun.
yes, but you don't. But it doesn't have to be blown up to be something massively more than just its normal, natural potential.
Yes. You have to accept the game for what it is. If you can't accept it, then play something else. Jesus
Exactly. Like,
Christ.
if you want the game, like if you want a competitive Dragon Ball game, Fighters,
Yes.
that is literally what it was designed to be.
It's crazy. Oh, you don't like the game? Well, don't play the game. Play something else. That doesn't make any sense. People, yeah. So many of those people, like, you gotta be kidding me. If you want to play a competitive game, play Dragon Ball. You want to play a casual game, play this game. You want to play none of those, then play DBFZ Kakarot, for God's sake.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
want to play,
A story-driven Dragon Ball
let's play
game.
a story-driven game. They have that. They literally have games for everything that you complain about. Just don't complain about the game that you want it to be like Street Fighter. You want it to be like freaking Tekken. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It's almost like it's adapting another form of copium.
Yeah. Oh, people. Whatever, though.
Let me see. Let me go over a couple of yes, forced popularity versus favoritism. Um, in terms of anime IP, the game community versus the manga community, which do you think really helps the scene in the medium more?
In terms of fighting games?
Yeah, we can start with fighting games, and then we can delve into anime itself. So
I
let
think
me.
if you were to have a game if you were to have two games back to back, and one game had let's do it this way. If you had three games back to back, the exact same, there's three games. Let's take Street Fighter, right? There's the Street Fighter characters, and then who people already know. Like everyone knows Luke, everyone knows Ryu, everyone knows Ken, everyone knows Chun-Li, right?
Mhm.
And then you had a completely new game, had no Street Fighter characters. It had completely new characters, right?
Right.
Obviously, the Street Fighter game with the Street Fighter characters would sell more. However, if you were to make the exact same game with an anime IP, like Bleach, for example, or One Piece, that game would sell significantly more. Just because the medium and the IP is a lot more popular. For sure. Like me, I can say that firsthand because that's happened to me. I've played Injustice too because I knew it was basically like Mortal Kombat, but I didn't give a crap about Mortal Kombat. But I did like superheroes. I'm like, oh, I like Superman. Let me play this game. Oh, it's made by the same guys who play Mortal Kombat. I've never played a Mortal Kombat in my life, but this game has Superman. This game has Batman. Let me just play that. So I think the reason I think DBFZ is going to open up the doors to a lot more 2D anime fighting games, but they have to be the right games. It can't be like, oh, One Punch Man. It can't be like Chainsaw Man. It has to be the big ones.
It's got to be the big ones
Naruto.
in order it's gonna sell.
It's-
So like you got your
it's-
Naruto, you got the Dragon Ball, you have possibly
Yes.
like the Fallen King, Bleach. Here you have.
Yep, you have there. I think the big ones are Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. Now, I don't watch Bleach, but hey, I would buy a game with Bleach in it because those characters are cool. I know
Exactly.
Ichigo.
Like the last really
But,
great
like-
Bleach game that they had was Bleach Soul Resurrection. If you had a chance to play that one back on PS3.
Yes, I think the best formula for fighting games now should be the IP.
Yeah.
And DBFZ has sold so well. It's still probably the most best-selling fighting game in the past like 10 years. Even beating Street. Well, besides like Smash Bros, it's probably the most selling fighting game in the past like 10 years. Not because the game is good. The game is fun.
Oh, it's because it has a
But
massive IP.
it's-
This IP
it's
spans
because it
multiple
has-
generations.
It has arguably the most iconic characters ever created in a fighting game. Arguably the most like worldwide known characters. I'd say DBFZ is king.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Bandai Namco gave Arc System Works a One Piece IP, a Naruto IP, My Hero, a Hunter x Hunter. Well, they're making a Hunter x Hunter game now. Well, they just made one. Arc System was part of it. They're part of the development team. That game's gonna sell. It's not gonna sell well as Dragon Ball because, let's be real, the graphics aren't the best, right? But I think something about that game that's saving it is the fact that it's Hunter x Hunter, and it's made by the same people who've made already a successful game in Marvel vs. Capcom, and Arc System Works is part of it. I think the IP isn't going to be.
It's not going to be big
I mean,
like Dragon Ball, but it's still going to
well,
be very
it's-
respectable. A good
it's not-
respectable size.
It's not DBFZ, but Hunter x Hunter's popular. It's popular as shit. Not like worldwide as Dragon Ball, but it's definitely
It's still
very popular.
Absolutely.
But I definitely agree that like the game doesn't look the best, and it's turning some people off. But
once you play it,
like-
we'll get you in.
how can I put it? Let's say Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball's an
So,
example of
look
it.
at a good example of a game that wasn't visually polished off but was decent was Nick All Stars.
Nickelodeon All Stars.
Yeah, Nick All Stars Brawl. That one, the first one,
Yep.
wasn't like the best polished game, but it was like the most fun and dynamic that it had in a while since Smash got here.
Yeah. Like imagine if, because look, I've never heard of Arc System Works before Dragon Ball. Now I know who they are. So like imagine if DBFZ was made by the people who are making a Hunter x Hunter game from Marvel, because Marvel's already very, 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 very popular. So that game would sell the game's already sold really, really, really fucking well, but that game would sell a little bit better if it was made by a recognizable company, right?
Absolutely.
So I think it's kind of helping the really. I think it's a good balance between a popular IP. It's not Dragon Ball, of course, but it's popular and it's made by a very popular game developer. Not the most popular, but that's the perfect balance between um like that's that like the game's gonna be a solid game because it's got a good IP and it's made by a development team who has already made a good fighting game. So people are they're gonna stick to it because they've made a very successful fighting game before, and it was
Right.
very popular.
Because they've proven their
So
worth in creating a very valuable
yes,
product.
they've already proved they can make a great fighting game. Now they just have a very popular IP. Well, Marvel vs. Capcom, well, not
And
to
that
say
can
it wasn't.
compensate. Because even if
I'm,
you.
I'm not.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm not trying to say Marvel vs. Capcom isn't popular. Obviously, they have Marvel characters. They have Capcom, but it's going to be very, very similar. People love Hunter x Hunter. I mean, I love Hunter x Hunter. I can't wait to play a game. I don't give a shit if the game is ass. I'm going to play it because it's Hunter x Hunter. That's the way I see it, at least. If the game happens to be ass, I'm still going to play it. If the game happens to be good, I'm still going to play it. I'm hearing people say, "Oh, I'm not playing the game because the graphics look bad." I'm like, "Well," and they're like, "Why are you playing the game?"
That
I'm
is
like,
not a
"Oh,
good
well."
point.
I'm like, "I like Hunter x Hunter. I'm gonna play a Hunter x Hunter game." It's like, "Well, why'd you play Dragon Ball?" "Well, I like Dragon Ball." "Well, obviously." So why are you asking me why am I playing Hunter x Hunter? Because I like Hunter x Hunter. So I think more companies are gonna look to Dragon Ball, DBMZ, and be like, wow, this sold 10 million copies or whatever. This has sold more than Street Fighter 6. This has sold more than Tekken. Why don't the next game we just include Naruto? Why don't we include One Piece or Bleach? So I think we're gonna see a lot more anime games from very popular IPs, e-fighting games down the line.
Absolutely.
I don't think this might be a hot topic or what's a hot take. I don't think right now there should be a Jump Force style roster 2D fighting game right now. I think they need to make they need to make these individual IP games first before they make the big
I was so
splash of.
disappointed with All Star with Jump Force because that felt like it was the right idea, but it was just too soon.
It could have been the most bought fighting game of all time if it was just a 2D fighter. They had everything. That's
I
all
said
people
instead of it
wanted.
trying to be an
People
arena
would
fighter, if it
have
was a 2D fighter thing, that shit might have just been the one.
people would have bought the game regardless because it had everyone's favorite characters. The game
Literally,
didn't stick because the game was ass. If it made a 2D fighter, the game would have been so much better. That game would still be at Evo right now.
it would. It really would.
If that was a 2D fighting game, that's how confident I am that they fucked up. Because the reason you play the game is not because there's a 3D fighter. It's because you want to play as Gon. You want to play as Luffy. You want to play as All Might. You want to play with your favorite
You want to
characters,
play
and
as
you stick
Seto
to the game.
Kaiba.
Yeah, he plays Yugi. You have Yugi in the game. You have freaking the guy from JoJo, Bizarre Adventure. And I don't even watch JoJo. I think that's hype. You buy the game because you like the characters, and you stay for the game because the game is good, or you leave the game because the game is bad.
Right. Like
If
that
there
felt
was
like it
just a
was really
2D
Marvel
fighter,
inspired. Like it felt somewhat Marvel inspired because you could
yes.
actually play who you wanted to play, even if they weren't fighters. You could play who you wanted to play. They were good, and the game felt good.
If they gave it to Arc System Works or the people who were making fucking the Hunter x Hunter game, even if they gave it to NetherRealm, not that NetherRealm's a bad studio, but if they just gave it to someone who knows how to make a 2D fighting game, that game would be the best fighting game ever.
Yeah.
What a waste, but
The template is out there now, so there is a chance that it
yes.
can possibly be duplicated.
But I don't think they should make it now. They have to make these. They have to make. They've already made the Dragon Ball game. Now they're coming out the Hunter x Hunter game. There needs to be the One Piece fighting game. There needs to be the Naruto fighting game. There needs to be the Bleach fighting game. And after all these games have sold, then you make the big, like, Smash Bros. Roster type Shonen
Right.
Jump
Because
game.
My Hero already has one
Because
Justice and Ultra Rumble. One
And,
One Justice
and,
more so for the arena fighters. They got their thing.
and here's why, right? Let's say you make the big Jump Force roster 2D fighting game, right? And that game's really, really good, right? And then you want to branch out and like, oh, Jump Force was really good. The 2D fighting game we made of Jump Force was really good. Let's make the One Piece fighting game. And what if that game sucks? What if that game is ass? They're just gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna play Jump Force again. I'm not gonna buy the new One Piece 2D fighting game because they already have a game where they can play Luffy, they can play Zoro, they can play Sanji.
Yeah.
So why would they play the worst game? You have to force, like, from a business standpoint, you have to force people to buy, there's not been a 2D fighting game for One Piece. I'm just using that as an example,
There
right? Or
hasn't
Naruto.
Yeah.
There hasn't. So if you're giving them what they want right now, you can't go back to it. Like, you just can't do it. Like, you have to have this first, and like, it's only One Piece characters. And then once you make the big one, then you can have, oh, I want to play Luffy against Goku. I want to, and because then they don't have anything to go back to. Is
Yeah,
what I'm
but
saying.
you're not able to productively backtrack is the issue.
Yes,
Because
you can't
you're not
productively
making the base
backtrack.
IP for what you're not making the base pool for whatever that IP that
Yep.
needs to exist. That way you can build on that to the metaverse that Jump Force was inkling at.
hmm And like, let's say they do make the One Piece game, right? Then they make the One Piece game first, and then before they make it, right, and it's bad, you can be like, oh well, I hope they make a new one, and I hope it's better than this one, and then you have this one come out. Does that make sense? Like, let's say, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, before right now, if there's no plan of making the big Jump Force style roster 2D fighting game, if they make a One Piece game, right, if it's good or bad, you're good. You're fine, because if it's bad, people are gonna want the next, like people have already got a taste of a 2D One Piece fighting game, and it's bad, so they're gonna want another one to be good. So they're gonna be like, oh, I hope. Like, let's say me and you play the game and we don't think it's good. You and I can be like, well, this game sucks. I hope they make another one that's really good. We're gonna buy it, and then it's a win-win, because if the game is good, then you're gonna be like, oh well, oh, they're making a shonen style game, the Jump Force game. Oh, I hope it's as good as this one. I'm gonna buy it. So either way, the company wins, because both times they're gonna buy it. But if you do it first, if you do the big Jump Force roster first, and then you make the One Piece one, and you read all the reviews, I'm gonna be like, why am I gonna buy this game? Why am I gonna buy the only One Piece 2D fighter when I could just play the game that already has my favorite One Piece characters? It wouldn't make sense from, like, a business standpoint.
Right. It's just backtracking.
It's just unproductive, which is why I think they need to wait. They need to hold off. They need to make the individual anime IP games first with their respective genres, and then in a couple of years, you make the big one. You make the one that's gonna sell. They should also be using these games to figure out what's good and what's work, because they need to make the Jump Force style game really, really good. Because doesn't Bandai Namco own, like, all these properties? Don't they own, like, One Piece and Naruto and Bleach and stuff like that? I could be wrong. Or is it Toei Animation? I don't know.
Toei Animation owns most of those.
Yeah, there's no issue in, like, rights and everything. So that, I guess, if I had a hot take, that would be it. Don't make the big Jump Force 2D fighting game yet. Make it in the future after you've made your own IP games. If you like money, you would do that.
Right, and it's okay to relaunch the game again and then just do it completely differently. That's perfectly fine. Like, this could be like the failed launch here could be the blueprint for its actual success further on down the line.
Yep, exactly.
Because you got a feel for what you want, you got everything included in here exactly like what you needed. It's just not time yet.
Exactly. Ah, exactly. You get me.
Let me see here. What was the anime IP, the gaming community versus the manga community? How do you feel about Akira Toriyama's influence on the culture?
I think, well, obviously everyone was upset, but I think. Well, here's my theory. With at least Hunter x Hunter, I truly believe that Akira Toriyama's death lit a fire under the mangaka who does Hunter x Hunter. Because before then, there wasn't a Hunter x Hunter chapter that's come out in years, and Hunter x Hunter, the manga, is notoriously known for having like two chapters come out every couple of years because the guy has health issues, and obviously health comes before it. But I really believe that Akira Toriyama's death lit a fire under him, and now he's cranking out manga chapters because he doesn't want to die before Hunter x Hunter is not completed.
Mm.
I truly believe that, but obviously it's a really bad thing that he died. I'm not saying this is a good thing at all, by the way. I'm just saying like
No, but it's just like
it's
you'd be
definitely
surprised how one person's presence or absence can inspire other people to make
yes,
change.
yep. And in terms of that, I think man, Goku's been for many people I mean for many people he's been like I wouldn't say a role model, but everyone can kind of there's not one
Support.
person who there's not one person who has seen the show who says, "Oh, I hate Goku." They could not like him as a character, but they can't like respect the fact that Goku's like the most iconic anime character of all time. Like, everyone respects Goku, and like you cannot like Goku, but everyone respects him because of what Akira did for him. Like the character of Goku is so iconic, and
Right. And that's the
it
key
was an absolute, especially for the Western scene. It was big. That was the character
for the West. That's the
that
ideal dude. Like
that was
this
the
was a
guy
direct
who.
inspiration from Journey to the West.
Yep, he was the guy who bought who. If no one, if you were like a kid and you've never seen anime before, chances are your first ever anime was Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
and that's what got you into it. But what that man did was on another level. He created something that was super special. That it was like even people around the world who haven't watched DBZ in years, even grown men who were upset by his death. You know, that's how much that's how much one person had an impact on you because he made something that was genuinely really special, and it was just sad. Rip to the goat.
And like the reach of games and social media influences that he's had. Like there's a lot of products that people may or may not know that he's even delved into or been associated with for all these years. Or founding ideas that he's had along with Dragon Ball or Dragon Quest or
Oh yeah,
was it Doctor not Doctor Slump? I can't remember where that Raleigh came from.
I'm talking about Doctor Stone.
No, not Doctor Stone. Because Doctor Stone, that's another Funimation title, but I don't think that was an Akira Toriyama work.
Mm. All I know is GT. He didn't like GT, and he came back and made Super. So we have GT to thank for that.
Funny how that happens. The attempt
Yeah,
of giving closure, which okay, you did it almost well, but it's like, no, this isn't what I want. Let me show you what I want.
yeah. And GT made SSJ4, just hype.
Yeah.
Hype man.
Let me see. Let us so we went into the influence on the culture, the game community versus the manga community. When it comes to, I guess between either the anime communities or the FGC community, Oh, hang on, wait, Realms? No, you have Dragon Ball Evolution, you should think. Oh yeah, that live action mistake we don't speak about in the Dragon Ball verse.
You know, I've actually never seen that movie because I've always heard it's really bad. I might have to just give it
You
a watch just to
saved
actually see how bad it
you
is.
sa- you saved yourself a good hour.
Is it
If you do
really that
want,
bad?
it makes you question why they picked these characters for these roles.
That's crazy.
Because it's a huge whole modern day take on trying to tell the story of Dragon Ball. Like the first few episodes of Dragon Ball that you would think all come together here leading up to the Demon King Piccolo, that's what they try to tell in a modern day take, which it was just not right. It's
Damn.
funny though. It's funny as hell when you watch the whole thing from start to finish and you think about, wait a minute, this happened though, but it didn't happen like
I have
this.
to watch this now.
Take a look at it. Watch how they did Piccolo, and then see if this is like you could actually see Piccolo looking like this, the King Piccolo.
Oh no. I'm scared.
It's all good. Just get a popcorn and just get ready to laugh. That's all.
Oh no. Yeah, I'll do it. Why not?
Okay. Um. Yeah, but between anime communities or the FGC communities, what do you want from the communities? Like, where do you see them going from the now?
Where do I see the anime and the fighting game community going? I'm not really sure to be honest. I guess
The guy that plays Piccolo for making Zamasu and the dub so iconic. Oh, really? Wait a minute. So the
the
voice
same voice actor.
the voice actor for Zamasu in Super, that's the same voice actor who did Piccolo in the live action.
Really? Oh shit. He had to redeem himself somehow, huh?
He sold the role of Zamasu, if that's the case. Oh, it is.
Wow.
He did redeem
Did
himself
not
then.
know that.
He made
He's like, I gotta redeem
he made the
myself.
most chatty supervillain ever.
I love Zamasu. He's hype.
He is. Everything about his design is just beautiful.
I like that whole arc too. That whole like, who is he? Like, who is this evil Goku?
Yeah, and that
Who
was
is he?
one of
Like,
the most fun arcs to me.
that was
Was
part
the
of
fact
it.
that they portrayed like the debut of Goku Black sold the whole arc for me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, an evil version of Goku, and they're like, oh, he's not actually him. So who is he? The whole mystery aspect of that arc was good. Just like how kind of Trunks was the same way. When they introduced Trunks, he turned Super Saiyan. Everyone's like, wait, I thought there was more. I don't know. I thought it was just Goku and Vegeta.
Right.
Now there's a Super Saiyan. Like, who is he? Like, who is this guy? Like, the fact that those two arcs had the mystery aspect to it, it was really good. Because you wanted to know more. It made you keep wanting to see it, so you got answers. Mm-hmm.
Okay. But yeah. Okay. Well, it's not really too much with the direction. I guess you can see from going from the now. Um. I guess for the closer, what's your takeaway from the gaming journey thus far and the road still traveled?
Mine, at least.
Mhm. Yeah, yours.
Well, right now I'm not really competing in anything right now, but I definitely do plan on starting to compete again once either Project L or Hunter x Hunter releases. I know I'm going to be going to CEO, and there's no way either of those games are not there. I'm planning to go to CEO. I'm trying to get back onto I guess, the traveling scene as well. But those two games, well, especially Hunter x Hunter, is going to revive like my bug for competing again. Because I'm telling you right now, when I get the release date for that game, I'm probably taking those 3 days of work off to completely grind that game. Because I'm gonna go so hard in that game. I don't think the game will be bad. I think it'll be okay, but it might not be the best game ever. But I could be wrong. We don't know yet. I haven't played the game actually, but we already know we've already got a taste of Project L. I think that beta was okay. I thought it was. I think they're gonna. I think that game's gonna knock it out the park.
I think it can.
But
I didn't get a chance to play the closed beta, but it looked like it was a really fun game. I had a chance to call a lot of so I had a chance to commentate for it. I had a chance to do a couple of illustration work for a few hosts top eights for it, so it was still a really fun experience for me.
oh, it's cool. That's dope. But I'm also in terms of like casual gaming, I'm definitely gonna be playing GTA. I think everyone's gonna be playing GTA. Let's be real. GTA is one of those things where like you just have to play, you just have to buy because it's so big and it's so good. Like, and there hasn't been a GTA game in what 10 years, a couple of years actually. But I'm also looking forward to try that Metaphor game by Atlas because I'm big on Persona. Persona 6 is also coming out too. Hopefully next year. Looking forward to that. FF7, the part 3, probably gonna be coming out the next couple of years. Looking forward to that too. What else is coming out that I definitely want to play?
I know the new Bleach.
Uh,
For me, I know the new Bleach game coming out is definitely a looker for me. If it is really good, I'm actually considering probably shelving my time with My Hero and delving right into Bleach.
oh, the Arena Fighter.
Mhm.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I think it'll be super fun with what they've revealed so far that's on roster and that may potentially be there. I'm in. I'm definitely in.
Who's
Project
your
L.
favorite Bleach character?
My favorite Bleach character, honestly, is between Grimjow, uh, Chad to a degree,
Oh yeah, Chad.
Rukia.
I've only seen the first arc of Bleach. To be fair, I
You
couldn't get into it after that. The Soul
oh
Society one.
yeah, the Soul
I thought it was
Society
good.
into the Rescue arc. You missed out on a couple of eras with Bleach. We got to get you caught up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewatch Bleach again. To be honest, we'll see though.
Okay. But yeah, Chad's my favorite character. Grimjow Jaggerjack's my favorite character. Rukia is one of my favorite characters. Yororichi.
I don't think he was in the first season, was he?
Chad? Yeah.
No, Yorodichi, whatever his name was.
Y- Um, yes. She was. It's the little black cat.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't remember too many Bleach characters, to be honest.
Do you remember Hat Clogs? Mr. Kisuke.
No.
Wears green and white.
I remember Rukia. I remember
Yuki.
Ichigo Kurosaki. I remember Zenpachi. Whatever, Zenpachi Zarake, or his name, whatever.
That's from season 2. Yeah, he's one of the captains.
And I remember the guy with the green hat and like the
That's the
white
dude I was telling
hair.
you about. Oh wait, the dude with the
The guy
green
who owns the
hat.
shop or whatever.
Yeah, that's Kisuke. That's Hat Clogs.
Kisuke. I remember Chad. What's the Quincy's name with the arrow? What's that guy's
Fluryu.
name? Oryu. I remember him. Aizen, obviously.
That's the main dude that's gonna be the end
Um,
game later. That's what I was gonna say. When you see, if you remember if you remember Kisuke, do you remember a little black cat that was around?
I think so.
That's Yororichi.
Oh, gotcha.
But you'll see her growth as the rest of season 2 into season 3 culminates. If you saw mostly into season 2, you'll be able to see the rest of it before long. That way you can actually paint a better picture of that cat and the lineage of many more things in the story that are relevant.
Gotcha. Interested.
I
Yeah.
believe that does cover everything that we wanted to talk about here today and that you wanted to talk about. I appreciate having you here as my guest on the Space Bridge panel.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. It was a good time.
Always. And people out there, if you guys wish to also seek to be the next guest here on Space Bridge, the podcast for the Iacon Battle Circuit, feel free to drop me a line here on Discord or Twitch or Twitter. Let me know whenever it is that you are free to want to be on the you want to be on the panel, and we can sit, talk, delve into anything it is you wish to delve into alongside our table of contents. Whatever it is that makes you comfortable as we seek to unravel a lot of the mysteries in gaming, gaming communities, the culture, the communities, FGC or Destiny, Rainbow, Overwatch, fighting, the arena fighter stuff, PC communities in general, console communities. You'd be surprised how in-depth conversations can get sometimes. It helps to establish the proper food for thought. Anybody on you
Speaking
want
of
to
food,
jump
I'm
in?
hungry. Uh, Raid me. I'm about to boot up.
Bet. Okay. Because I see Jotun Wolf, I see Double Bravos on, I see Red Radical, More Phenomenal, No Mercies, and a couple of creative VTubers that are in the just chatting section that are doing what I'm doing, but with other gimmicks, gremlins, and mouthwashing apparently, which I don't understand.
Gremlins and mouthwash. What's that even mean?
I don't know.
Interesting.
This thing here for Kuragagi says, just chatting, mouthwashing, cold boys are in your area.
What the fuck? That's
Hey chat, does that not sound
crazy.
cringe-worthy right there?
Yeah, it's a little much in it.
Yeah, let me know once you're up, and then I'll go ahead and bring it on up.
Yeah, I'm up. I'm in there.
What game did you boot? Oh, hang on, I got you, Street Fighter.
Adventure Fighter. I'm about to play with Coco for a bit.
Okay. Oh, and Coco, I saw you were lurking a lot of the time. It's good seeing you again, broski. It's been so long. Look
Coco, you
forward to
suck.
look forward to the time we can get a chance to play again. Hell, I miss us playing in Dragonball because fighting against you was honestly like one of the best times I had training in the game. I was actually able to fight someone that literally played like me.
Coco's one of those guys you like fighting because he doesn't play like a maniac.
Exactly. We just have all of the exact same game plans on what you want to do. Like, it's
Yep,
literally
it's
like
very
fighting
rare these
myself, and
days.
I'm fighting myself constructively.
It's very rare these days.
Absolutely. That's why I miss having training partners for some games. Always, Coco. Alright, we're going to go on ahead and start the raid. Alright, if you guys have any other questions, comments, or concerns, like I said, feel free to let me know what's going on here. I made my announcement earlier also at the beginning of South America's bracket yesterday that I am going to be bringing Iacon Battle Circuit back at the end of the month, just for the weekend. So be on the lookout in the Blaze Blue community. I'm going to be doing a vote tonight when I go live again, going back over to My Hero. We're going to be doing the vote for the Sunday block. It's either going to be a Dragon Ball bracket, either PC or console, or it's going to be Black, or it's going to be Guilty Gear. That way we can go ahead and we can
Everyone join
continue
his
the good
tournaments or
times.
else.
Exactly.
You've been commanded by me to join the tournaments. Let me know if no one joins. I'll talk to them personally.
Yes, sir. Alright, you guys stay in the know. We're going to get ready to go on ahead and join Vapors for Street Fighter 6. You guys take care, and like I always say, till all are one.